What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis. We got some major things to cover here today. Bernie Sanders has the highest favorability among possible 2024 contenders, according to a new poll. Let me know your thoughts here. Senator Bernie Sanders, independent from Vermont, remember he's not a Democrat, clocked in with the highest favorability rating among a list of 23 potential 2024 contenders, according to a new USA Today Ipsos poll. 46% of respondents said they had at least a somewhat favorable view towards Senator Bernie Sanders, while 41% said they had an unfavorable opinion. President Biden had the second highest favorability rating at 43%, although his favorability rating was notably higher than Sanders, with 52% of those surveyed saying they had an unfavorable opinion of the president. Now, this is where you get like the Republicans and the Democrats. Almost all Republicans say that they have an unfavorable opinion of the other guy. Former President Trump clocked in with the same ratings as Biden. So I guess almost exactly the same. Again, Republicans versus Democrats, right? You get almost exactly the same ratings. That shows you how evenly distributed our country is, Republicans versus Democrats. The three political figures were followed in the poll by other well-known potential candidates, while possible contenders with smaller national profile were seen as unfamiliar by voters. Vice President Kamala Harris and former Vice President Mike Pence both received favorable ratings from at least 40% of respondents, earning the third and fourth highest figures among the candidates. Among Democrats, Biden received the highest favorability rating, with 82% of Democratic voters indicating a positive view of the sitting president. Only 11% of Republicans indicated a favorable view of Biden. So you can see the disparity there of what Democrats think of Biden and what Republicans think of Biden. And almost the flip of what people think of Trump, what Republicans think of Trump and what Democrats think of Trump, right? This is how divided the country is, and Congress as well, right? Biden and his aides insist he plans to run for a third term in 2024 if his health allows. Although some Democrats have dodged questions about supporting Biden's reelection bid amid his low approval numbers, which is still 2 years away. Trump received the highest favorability rating among Republicans, 81%, according to the poll. The former president, again, this is just among Republicans, the former president was followed by Pence and Senator Ted Cruz from Texas, who had 69 and 68% of Republican voters. Again, just in this poll. In good news for a lot of seniors and other Americans, over-the-counter hearing aids are expected this fall, which could save Americans thousands of dollars being able to purchase them for cheaper. The Food and Drug Administration said a new regulation finalized here will permit a new class of hearing aids to be sold online or over the counter at pharmacies and other retail stores. The status applies to devices for adults with mild to moderate hearing problems. Those with more severe hearing loss will remain prescription only. The new rule will take in effect in mid-October, which is only about 2 months away. Lawmakers are calling for safety upgrades as seniors and people face long lines outside in the heat for hours at Social Security offices. Kind of makes you think of the IRS with their long lines on the phone and maybe even at their offices as well. People who face long lines waiting at the Social Security Administration field offices must also contend with intense heat this summer. Leaders of the House Ways and Means Committee sent a letter to the agency this week calling for safety improvement, saying, quote, "We strongly urge the Social Security Administration to take additional action to address the safety needs of individuals who are seeking field office services at Social Security Administration locations." You can see here, quote, "Although most Social Security Administration field offices can assist visitors, in some locations, people have been standing outside in the heat for hours at a time without the guarantee of even getting their needs met," wrote Representative Richard Neal, a Democrat from Massachusetts, and Kevin Brady, a Republican from Texas, in a letter addressed to Kylo Kajaki, acting commissioner of the Social Security Administration. Yeah, that's an interesting last name there. Okay, some stimulus stuff here. Stimulus Update 2022, one-time direct $1,400 check payments to be sent out. This is in Johnson County, Iowa. They're sending out some checks to people who didn't get checks previously. Next up, the state of Pennsylvania pushing really hard for those $2,000 stimulus checks that the Pennsylvania governor wants. You can see here, Pennsylvania citizens writes, "I am writing to prompt you to write or call your state senators and representatives regarding the $2,000 stimulus checks that Governor Tom Wolf wishes to give all Pennsylvania citizens. Wolf would like to give every Pennsylvania citizen who makes $80,000 or less a $2,000 stimulus check. I wrote to the governor asking where these checks were. I got a response that said he wants this to happen, but it will not happen unless our state legislators pass it. So far, they have not." This money, Governor Wolf assures, is extra money that, if not used by 2024, will go back into the state pot to be distributed however your legislators wish, to their own interests. "I know there are many people who are hurting financially. Food, gas, housing, utilities, everything has gone up. If you back the governor and contact your legislators, I believe we have a chance of having this passed. This will be the third or fourth time the governor has presented this to the legislature for approval, and he has just done so again. I think this is very important to Pennsylvania residents and their families, who the governor is attempting to help." Signed, Diana J. Rumbaugh from Avonmore. Now, note here, Governor Wolf is a Democrat, and he's not even up for re-election. He's term limited. He's already served as many terms as he can, and he can't even be reelected, guys. So, literally, like, this guy is doing this out of the goodness of his heart. It's not a re-election scheme, okay? He can't be reelected. Okay, he just literally wants to use this money that came from the last stimulus package and send this out to struggling people in Pennsylvania. Okay, and this is the stimulus money that came from the last stimulus package that they just had sitting there, billions of dollars. Okay, he's a Democratic governor. The state House and the state Senate is controlled by Republicans, who, as of right now, have said that they don't want to send it out. Also, might we see something from the federal level on stimulus checks or stimulus programs? That's a very real possibility. You got to think about, we just did see a massive stimulus program for over 40 million Americans called student loan forgiveness. So if you're a part of the 43 million Americans, you just got blessed with a massive stimulus check of $10,000 to $20,000 in student loan forgiveness. It's basically like the government saying, here's $10,000 to $20,000 in student loan forgiveness. It's basically a stimulus check. They're just waiving $10,000 to $20,000 of student loan debt. It's the same exact kind of thing if you think about it. Okay, that's for 43 million-ish Americans. Okay. We're also going to probably see a food stamp raise, food stamp assistance coming here in September. That's for another 40 million Americans. Between the two of those, it's going to be 85 million Americans. We're also seeing all these state stimulus checks, state stimulus programs, rent assistance, mortgage assistance, utility assistance. You start to add up all these programs, we're over 100 million Americans, maybe even close to 200 million Americans between all the 20 some states doing all this program. So, um, and what might more we see on the federal level? Student loan forgiveness that might be challenged in court though by the Republicans. So I'll keep you up to date on that. The food stamp and food raising assistance, might more people be eligible for that as well? I'll keep you up to date on that. Social Security raises, I'll keep you up to date on that. Will we see a stimulus check on the federal level as well? I'll keep you up to date on that. Will they pass something on via reconciliation or executive order? Or after the election, will the Democrats have more votes? Will the Republicans be in charge? I don't know. We'll see. I'll keep you up to date on that as well. So this kind of gives you an idea if your state, whether your state is controlled by Republicans, Democrats, if your governor's a Republican or a Democrat, your state legislature has a House and a Senate, and it might be this kind of gives you an idea of how it works. Okay, your state House, your state Senate has to vote on it. They have to come up with a plan, and then they send it to the governor to sign it. Okay, so that's kind of how it works. Okay, I always get a question saying, why doesn't our state send this out? There's like 20 some states that are, and other states are waiting. Maybe they're waiting till closer to the election, which we're getting pretty close now at this point. But also after the election, remember that the state legislators are up for re-election as well. You could vote them out if you wanted to. You could keep them in if you wanted to. Your governor might be up for re-election as well. You could vote them out if you wanted to. You could keep them in if you wanted to. And after the election, there also could be a new makeup of your House or your Senate in your state. And then they might be able to use the money as well. Okay, so remember that there's billions and billions of dollars. $350 billion went out to the 50 states based on your population. Each state got at least $1 billion of stimulus money from the last package. But in addition to that, we also have the surplus money because each state is bringing in more money than they're spending. Okay, so what that means is that like each state's budget, let's just say each state, we'll just go with like an average state. Let's say their budget is $5 billion a year, just for a nice round number. They might be bringing in right now $10 billion a year, $7 billion a year. So they're bringing in more money in tax revenue and sales tax revenue and stuff like that than they're spending. So they're bringing in billions of dollars more than they spend, so they have a surplus. California has $100 billion surplus, okay, but they're also much larger population-wise. They're the largest population state in our country. Okay, and they're I don't remember what their budget is, but their budget is something like $100 billion, but they also have $100 billion surplus, so they have an extra 1 year surplus. Okay, but they're sending out stimulus checks here as well, which is going to be up to $1,050, and that's going to go out. They said maybe as early as September. They might go out maybe as early as September or October. Okay, that's $350 per person. So if you're a married couple, that's two of them, 350, 350. If you have any children, 350, 350, 350, up to a total of $1,050. Okay. California did a check last year as well because they have money. And so there's stimulus money each state has, and there's also surplus money. Every state has surplus money because unemployment is low right now. So unemployment is at 3.5%, which is the lowest it has been in uh, 50 years. I almost said 40, but that's inflation. Inflation's at a 40-year high. Unemployment's at a 50-year low. So that's just why we're in a kind of a weird recession right now. This is not normal circumstances. So inflation's at a 40-year high. Unemployment's at a 50-year low. Unemployment's kind of low really because a lot of people have been forced back to work because to deal with high inflation. Even a lot of retirees have gone back to work, even part-time, because they are trying to deal with the high cost of food and the high cost of rent and the high cost of gas. Gas has come down now for over 70 days in a row. It's like 72 days or something like that. Um, diesel's actually ticked up a little bit now. Diesel's up like 5 cents in the last 7 days. So your results may vary based on where you actually are, what state you're in. But so a lot of people have gone back to work because of inflation. So it's not like this is all good news or all bad news. It's kind of a mixed economy right now. And our GDP, the growth of our economy, gross domestic product (GDP), kind of how much um, product the country is selling. Just think of like food and gas and iPhones and Walmart product. The economy actually shrunk. We actually sold less in the whole first half of this year than we did last year. So um, we actually were a little bit negative compared to the year before. So that a lot of people say that's a technical indicator for a recession, but just a little bit negative. So this is not really a typical economy. It's very, very strange. We have very high inflation, but very low unemployment. In a normal recession, we would have the opposite. We would have um, very high unemployment. Companies would be laying off people during a recession, left and right, and then the Fed would actually be lowering interest rates to help out the economy to try to come out of the recession. But in this case, they're raising interest rates because of the how high inflation is. So this is actually kind of a backwards recession. So compared to the last several recessions we have, this is almost a mirror image. It's almost a completely backwards recession compared to the last several recessions we had. So it's kind of an unprecedented territory, but at least gas is coming down pretty dramatically. Like I said, we've been down for almost 75 days in a row. We might be nearing a bottom because especially we're starting to see diesel tick up a little bit. Natural gas has been spiking dramatically, which people use to heat their homes. Not everybody, but a lot of people do. And this is why we're seeing a lot of car manufacturers trend towards electric vehicles. I know that a lot of them are expensive now, but the price of those will come down as they start to make more economical economy cars, and we start to see used cars and stuff on those as well. Problem is our power grid. Can our power grid keep up? The government's gonna have to start making more um, solar and wind power and nuclear power, and it's going to have to beef up our power grid, especially in places that need it, like Texas. Texas, if you're listening, you have to work on your power grid, especially because you've isolated yourself from the rest of the country. You're on your own, so you really need to work on your power grid. Yeah, so let me know your thoughts here in the comments. I'll keep you up to date here. Make sure to subscribe down below to our YouTube channel. It's completely free to do so. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. After you subscribe, click the bell icon so you get notifications when we go live. It's completely free to do so, and you can support our channel by simply hitting the thumbs up button for us down below. You can click here to see my newest video on Social Security raises and also the Social Security payment schedule coming out here. And here is my newest video on student loan forgiveness, the most recent video on that. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.